Hello, it's Alina from Xactimate Mastery here, and I'm back with another Tuesday Tech Tip. Today we're going to talk report types. So we've got 3 different types of reports that are commonly used. We're going to talk about when you should use each one and how they're different. Let's go take a look. Okay, so let's take a look at some of these different report types. When you first download Xactimate, install it, and start to use it, the default report type, if you go to the print screen up here, I'm in an estimate just going to the print screen, the default report type is going to be abbreviated, all right? So that's what Xactware sets up as its default. Maybe because it's the first at the top of this list, I'm not really sure, but I see lots of contractors running the abbreviated report. And that's all well and good, but I have a couple other reports that I think are more useful and may show the adjuster some things that you want them to see. So let's take a look at the printed version of the abbreviated report. I've got it here on my screen. And you'll see that all you have for columns are quantity, unit price, and then total. It actually looks like I left off a quantity right there. So it doesn't look apples for apples with what the adjuster's estimate typically looks like. I don't think I've ever seen an adjuster run an abbreviated, maybe on accident, but they have to run a different type of report. So if you want to supplement your files, it's better to have apples for apples rather than there's an apple and then there's this orange or maybe this onion over here. So when an adjuster gets this, it kind of throws them off. They haven't really seen this report here. It looks simple to you, but they're confused. They're like, where's the RCV value? What are they asking for? Those kinds of questions come to mind. And then, of course, O&P isn't showing at the line item level, so that's why some contractors do like this report. Okay, so you can use it if you don't want the O&P to show up at the line item level. However, it is still going to show at the bottom of the report down here. Okay, so there I've got my O&P added. So it's still there. It's not like it's missing or hidden somewhere. It just is a different type of report. So that's the abbreviated report. That's the one that whenever you open up Xactimate, you write your first estimates and you're getting your estimates out the door. If you don't know to change it, this is what's called the abbreviated. If you like it, that's fine. I'm not trying to throw a stick in your bicycle wheel here. But I think I have a couple other options that you might want to take a look at. The first one is what's called final draft with or without removal depreciation. Yes, that's a mouthful. I've said that probably 1,000 times in my teaching career because it's such a long description here, but it is one of the top ones that adjusters use. And again, going back to the apples for apples instance, if you want to run a report that looks almost identical to the adjusters, you want to use the final draft with or without removal depreciation. And it doesn't actually say with or without, it has a slash there, okay? But that's what we call it. Final draft with or without removal depreciation is the one you'd want to choose. And then we can take a look at what that looks like. And this is more typical to what you're going to see most adjusters run the report as. And you can line the two up and you can see, okay, this is what I've paid for. Let's look at the contractors. These are the items I've missed. And it looks pretty similar. Also, what I like about it is it shows my RCV column, so they can see I have no depreciation that I've asked for. So actually the ACV column you can see matches there. Then I'd also like my depreciation release at this time too. So there's a couple different things I can do using this report. Also notice you've got your tax and your O&P at the line item level. The other report is missing that. It's very truncated. It's an abbreviated report. That's a perfect name for it. That's what it's called. So you want to be able to show your tax or your O&P, also your RCV, ACV values, then you'll want to run the final draft report. And again, it totals everything at the bottom just like it does at any other estimate. So your summary page will still look the same. It's just that you're seeing those different columns on the estimate there. My other favorite report, and generally USAA, I'm going to say good job USAA. I think it's really cool that they run this report, but it's called the rough draft. What the rough draft report does is actually pretty cool. I kind of would like it if every insurance company ran this way. But what it does is it adds the category, the selector field, tells me what's in their calculator. So let's say that we had a roof that had rakes of 100 linear feet, and then the eaves were 200. I could see that this adjuster on their drip edge had added 100 plus 200 if they had done this or used the calculator field. Here, none of the calculator fields were used, but you would be able to see all of their calculations, the plus, the minus, the division, everything would show up here. It's really cool. It's a clear report. Also, it shows you the, of course, quantity. And then it breaks it down into remove and replace values. So you have two different columns that you normally don't see. Generally, they're lumped into one, into the unit price. All right. You are missing the RCV and ACV columns here. I don't find that to be that much of a detriment because my estimate usually doesn't include depreciation unless for some weird reason they ask me to add it, if it's an ACV policy or something like that. Everything else though, I just really like to be able to see my category selector codes. You can also see the action, okay, so the activity. So I can see the removal. If you look there, let me zoom in here. If you look right here, you've got your removal activity, my replacement. They paid to remove and replace my drip edge, not just replace it. All right, so I can see all the activities on this report as well. So you cat selector codes and activities, got your quantities. I think it's really cool. So if you ever deal with USAA, you'll see the reports look like this, and it's a beautiful thing. Now, on the other hand, I probably would not send a rough draft report, this style of report, to an adjuster who's using the final draft. It throws them off. Again, you want to get your supplement in there and out of there, off their desk, because you're the easiest person to deal with, right? We're not throwing that stick in the bicycle wheel. So I would use the final draft when dealing with most adjusters out there. If they ask for a report that shows my category and selector codes, I would send them the rough draft, right? I wouldn't just shoot it in there every time. That's not going to work the most efficiently for you. However, those companies that do use the rough draft, run it for them because they're used to looking at it all day, all right? So use what report is apples for apples as best you can. If you don't want O&P to show, that's fine. You can use the abbreviated. Not my favorite, but I understand some people don't want to show O&P on line items. That's fine. So those are the top 3 reports that you should be using. I'm going to say top 2. I'm going to close out this guy. Abbreviated, not much my favorite. But rough draft and final draft are really the 2 you want to take a look at, and you're going to rely more heavily on the final draft for sure. Let's take a look at where you find how to change the report types, just in case you've never been in there before. So I'm going to go back to my estimate here. I'm in the estimate. I'm in estimate items. All I'm going to do is go over to print. All right, print in the top right corner. And first thing I'm going to do, guys, is resequence my line numbers. That's my mode of operandum. Always resequence. That takes your estimate from line item number 77 through 100 back to 1 to 10, right? So if you ever seen your line item acting wacky, this is it right here, okay? That's your resequence. So first thing I do, resequence. Then I go up to the top here, and right next to report, you just drop down the list and choose whichever one that you desire to run. I really mostly use the final draft, so I'm going to leave that there, and then I could go and check off what I would need, my images, my sketch, and then export this report or print it. All right, so it's in the print window. It's next to report, so up towards the top portion. Drop down that list, and there you have it. You have access to all those different types of reports. All right. My name is Alina Wilson with Xactimate Mastery. Visit our website at www.xactimatemastery.com for more information. Be sure to subscribe and comment below if you have any questions, and I'll see you next week.